My name is Julie. I was born in Chiapas, Mexico. My father was an alcoholic and abusive. My mother had a job, but she could only afford to feed me café con galletas. I began having seizures when I was 6 months old. She worked really hard to take me to a few doctors, but none of them could figure out what was wrong with me. Out of fear, my mother decided that the best thing to do was to move to the United States. She knew that she would work difficult jobs here, but she was willing to do it for me. Moving to the U.S. meant that I would get treatment for the seizures I was having. It meant that I would get an education, which was something she wouldn't be able to afford in Mexico. She had to escape her own home. One night my father got drunk and then fell asleep. She had to take me from him and finally escaped after struggling for 2 years. She had to say goodbye to her mother, father, and siblings. She didn't know that it would be the last time she saw the people she loved. My mother walked in the desert for 3 days. A lady took me with her to the U.S. and let me use her daughter's birth certificate. Her daughter happened to look like me and was my age. We later reunited in California. We arrived in 1997. I was 2 years old. We lived in California ever since. My mother was a farm worker. Years later, she began working as a housekeeper at a hotel where the undocumented workers had taken advantage of. Soon after we arrived, I was treated for the seizures I was having. I had epilepsy. I always knew that I was undocumented, which meant I couldn't work legally in the U.S., and I was convinced that I wasn't going to college. I constantly worried about our future. What am I going to do after I'm out of school? My dreams are not going to happen. My mother and I could get deported any day, or she can get deported while she's at work. School wasn't easy for me. I was in a special ed program for 4 years, and in speech language therapy for 2 years. I grew out of epilepsy when I was 10 years old. My mother always told me to have hope and to take advantage of my education. I later became the first person in my family to attend college. My mother was the one who told me about the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, also known as DACA. She had been paying attention to the news regarding undocumented students for years. At first, I was skeptical about DACA. I didn't trust the program. I was afraid that my information would be used to later deport me. Over time, I became excited. For the first time, I believed that I could have a career and that my dreams could come true. I was a junior in high school when I applied for DACA. My mother had saved documents in a box over the years in case an opportunity would actually come. So she gathered what I needed to apply and took me to the consulate of Mexico. There are many misconceptions about DACA. DACA applicants are eligible to receive employment authorization and a social security number, and in some states, access to state student loan programs and driver's licenses. DACA does not provide non-citizens with lawful status. DACA is only valid for 2 years, and the applicant may or may not be eligible to renew. Sometimes employers decide not to hire DACA recipients because DACA is not permanent. DACA recipients are not eligible to receive any federal benefits. DACA recipients convicted of certain criminal offenses will still be eligible for deportation. DACA is temporary. It does not provide a path to citizenship for non-citizens. As soon as President Obama is out of office, the few protections offered by DACA are no longer guaranteed.